Good evening. We have so much to talk about. This weekend, we plan on continuing our super exciting throwing stones art concept project. This is how we are issuing our own currency as an art project. This is real money. I've put beautiful corundum sapphires in it. I worked so hard to make the most beautiful, durable, but these are precious relics, of course. They all have their own stories. Every one of these items is going to be like the movie The Red Violin. There's going to be a huge story. These are literally relics of this world-changing art project, which only becomes more important the more it's suppressed. I always, the amount of money they've spent against me, imagine if I had made a deal with that gallery in East Hampton. I didn't. Which was better for me, to get to be tortured by a gallery person and subverted into like losing everything that's great about me, or to say no and have them spend millions and millions and millions. I would love to know the number on the bounty. I would love to know how much they spent. I can't believe it. It has to be, I think, easily over 10 million. I think I'm being very conservative. So would they have spent that much money for me? Not in my dreams. So sometimes I think, I don't know, maybe the joke is on them. I'm trying to make a point. We're not dealing with people that are that amazing. Let's put that mildly. Anyway, so we're going to throw some stones. We're going to issue some currency. Buy it, sell it, trade it. Ask me for some. I'll give it to you. I want this money in circulation. I want to see it traded. And if I hear that you traded it and you give me a positive feedback about it, who knows, some jewelry just might show up in your mailbox. That's how this works, okay? I'll make it worth your while. Play along. I want to issue money. Why not? I can do that. I am an artist and I make money because I have a world-changing art project that is being suppressed in the most cartoonish Bond villain sort of way by financiers in England. That's where they come from. They're financiers from England. So when they tell you it's your neighbor or the guy down the street or the person who looks different than you, no. Keep your eye on where it really is. They want us fighting, and I really resent them for that, trying to make us fight. I will say that about if somebody's a good person and they are sincere. I don't care what race they are, and I bet you the vast majority of this world feels exactly the same way. A lot of this racism is like, it's put on us. We're brainwashed to be racist, and I don't even believe that people really are that racist. I think a lot of our problems are really being made for us. And I think we would actually get along a lot better if we could deal with each other and not have dark occult people involved in every financial transaction we make, everywhere we go, every time we deal with transportation, air travel, government. I mean, the list goes on. Flying Rolodexes. They get involved in every single aspect of our lives. Like, I shouldn't have to wear a helmet. I would rather ride my scooter around without a helmet on. That's my choice. Oh my goodness. They shouldn't be involved in that. I feel strongly about that one. It's for my own good that I have to wear a helmet for. Why am I wearing a helmet? I don't want to. I hate it. And why are they involved in these minutiae details of my life? It's my choice if I want to wear a helmet on a scooter. It's my choice if I want to wear a seatbelt. This is the slippery slope that they all tell you about. First they're telling you the seatbelt, and the helmet. And then they're telling you, oh, injections whenever we say. Okay, that's how it works. They need to not be involved in our medical care, our education, our money, our governments. We should be able to do all of those things without having these people saying, but we're here to control you and you have to give us your money. These are dark occult people. They have the right to their religion, but we have the right to not deal with them if we don't want to. I'm sick of them. We're all so sick of them. Can we just say no to dark occult situations that are fighting with me for control of my life? No one should be fighting with me for control of my life. That's my life, okay? And they are right down the road from me, okay? And their address is so easy to find, okay? This is coming from very specific places. And I show you the specific places these things are coming from, okay? So there's like hotbeds of Mossad activity, okay? Yeah, and they work for these wonderful people in England. That is how it works. And they will tell you it's Israel and the US military and everywhere else than where it really is, which is like secret societies and all of these agencies. That's where it's living, okay? That's where the monster lives. Ugh, so fed up. Anyway, so the point of my project to take a huge left turn is I'm trying to prove a story about twin flames. Why am I so into this? Because I'm trying to tell you a story about twin flames because I am the luckiest and unluckiest person in the world in that my twin flame it's Napoleon. So if your twin flame's at Napoleon, you have to get involved in his wars. It's that simple. So I have to support him, and this is his war, and that's the truth. But believe, I agree with him 100%. I think he's right about everything. So if he tells me to do this, I do it. And these are his enemies, and they are my enemies also. I haven't been able to move forward either because of them. And everybody feels my pain and understands exactly how I feel. I tried and tried and tried, but it's their world and they own everything. And if you don't do what they like, forget it. And it's dark occult, manipulative people that are deciding everything. See, I'm back into the rant. What does that have to do with twin flames? Because I'm so fed up. And my twin flame is Napoleon, and he's really fed up too. So I thought he was just a ghost. I know this is the craziest story ever, but it's congruent. I've been telling you for years, as we know. Anyway, so I'm sure I'm twin flames with Napoleon. I think I'm showing you. I have this fanatical ogre behind me asking me to fight his enemies. So, and I hate it, but I do it. Anyway, so the reason Hortense and Napoleon were twin flames, as we can see from the memoirs, and I hope you will listen to the memoirs, please, and see this incredible story between Hortense and Napoleon. And I want to show you some evidence that I dug up today to support my theory that Napoleon was madly in love with his stepdaughter Hortense, but he didn't really pursue her. So I have a letter that he wrote to her, and this was after he basically compelled her to marry his brother, because then she would be like trapped with him and his family, which is a terrible idea, obviously. But it shows you that he had to keep her near him. It's kind of sweet, but it led to a horrible marriage. And Hortense could not have been more miserable with Napoleon's brother, Louis. And she was just suicidally depressed all the time. That's Hortense. She's suicidally depressed, Hortense, and she hates being married to Louis, and she is madly in love with Napoleon, and she can never do anything about that because Napoleon is her mother's husband, and she loves her mother, and she would never do anything to hurt her mother. So she's just in this horrible situation. And then Louis is madly in love with her, and she's had a child And the English newspapers said that the child was Napoleon's, and they lied outrageously, and that was not true. But everybody believed it in France. Even people like near them believed it because they were so obviously in love with each other that, and the child ended up looking just like Napoleon. So I'm probably because they were twin flames, so they were trying to almost have a family in this weird way, but they were twin flames. And she was so miserable. And Napoleon tried to cheer her up, but he's always kind of trying to have this like almost family with his stepdaughter. So he writes this letter to her, and this is such a like sweet moment before all the agents came in and destroyed everything. And they really do. They come in and destroy people's lives. And this is early in the story before they really got their hooks in everybody. And people do need to understand this. You have to recognize this group and not let them in your life, because that's what the story of Napoleon is all about. How they destroyed everything in these people's lives until she even her children were dead because of them, because of their way of maneuvering. They kill people's children, and they love to do that. That's their favorite thing. It's a dark occult. So it's hard to believe. Anyway, so this is before it got horrible because of them. And then Napoleon's trying to get her to see his camp on the coast. It's like almost cute. There's this whole story that Napoleon created this huge camp facing England just to like psych them out and scare them. And all the memoirs deal with this. And they're like, was that real? Was that not real? We want to know. It was like a debate. Anyway, I think it was real. Actually, it's just from, like, Napoleon was asked about it many times, and he said it was real. If you're interested in the answer to the debate. So he had this really cool camp set up called Pontebrique, I think. And he wanted to show it off to her. But it's his sister-in-law, and he doesn't know how to do it. But then once she gets there, and she's like the most miserable person in the world, and she hates her life, and she hates her husband. The only thing that she cares about is this son that she has. It looks just like him, Napoleon, that is named Napoleon. So her whole life goes into this son. It's such a sad story, because that was like the Napoleon she could have. Anyway, so he writes this letter to her because he wants to show off his camp. It's this impossible situation, you know. Anyway, so this is a letter. It's from Napoleon to Hortense, and I'm reading this to show you, like, how he spoke to her. It's really touching. I received with much pleasure, my dear little girl, your letter, which was as charming as everything that comes from you. You may think that I'm becoming very much a doting parent, but what you tell me of Napoleon's cleverness makes me feel as though I were hearing about a third generation, for I knew his father when the latter was so small that I could consider him as belonging to the second generation. I have been several days at Bologna. I shall remain for some time. I should be glad to have you write me, and you would be more than kind to bring Napoleon and come and spend 5 or 6 days here. Arrange this with Louis. This will make your stay at the health resort a little gayer. They tell me the Saint Amand is dreary. Goodbye, my dear little girl. 1,000 loving kisses. Napoleon Jr., whom I left at St. Cloud, is very well. As for me, I should be delighted to see you. You will never know how fond I am of you and how much I care for you. I wrote yesterday and sent the letter by messenger to little mother, Napoleon. Kind of says it all. She had 3 sons named Napoleon. 3. 3 sons. Okay, so all the memoirs deal with this. Like, was Napoleon with Hortense? None of them sound sure. None of them. They all make their arguments for why they don't think so. And it wasn't. But they're not sure because they were really in love with each other. You have to, like, read between the lines. Like, officially, no. Because she was the mother of the heir. She had to be perfect. They couldn't say she was in love with him and all that stuff. I'm sure he said to everybody, if you write about this, you write about her like she's a perfect saint. Don't, he's very, like, that's the mother of my heirs. And as you know, he has this incredible love for her. Anyway, so I'm Hortense, and that's Napoleon. I mean, I know him, and I'm always connected to him. And that's just how he is. That's his personality. He's such a, like, authoritarian but sweet. And I really want you to know his personality, because he just wanted to help people. And the way he's been vilified is unbelievable. And like you said, I've had the shock of my life. I'm realizing that Elvis Costello is Napoleon. And this has been hard for me, actually. You'd think I'd be so thrilled. I am thrilled, of course. How could I not be thrilled? I'm beyond thrilled. It's incredible, but it's not what I expected at all. And anyway, so I think I've already proven it. I think it's the same as that person. If you get behind the situation, and the situation, if I may say a word about the situation, is horrible. We were born into a dark occult theocracy, and all of us have had to make these hideous compromises to survive under a dark occult theocracy, which is a global empire. When we're being lied about everything concerning reality, and reality is very easy to understand once you realize that you're being completely brainwashed by dark occultists. So I really want to be very straight about that. And I really think this is my twin flame Napoleon, and I'm so upset for him, his situation, and I think organized crime shouldn't be holding the gate at every single thing. If he wanted to become a musician, he had to become in cahoots with this group. That's not negotiable. That's a monopoly. That's not fair. These are not good contracts. If you must deal with a certain dark occult group to have a career in music, that's really not fair, is it? And I think that needs to end right now. Like, they own everything, so they make the rules on everything, and it really doesn't matter what's true. That's not fair. That needs to end. They get to make the rules because they own everything, because they have retained control of the central banks, and they can use that money that they conjure up out of thin air to bribe everyone everywhere, and everybody else has so much difficulty getting money. That's a rigged game. That's not fair. And think about, I have to say this, what if he hadn't worked with them? You would have never heard his music. So think about that. That's what is so complicated here. Okay? And I want us to move on. There has to be a way to figure out money and justice. Everything else will come so easily. Once money and justice are dealt with, they can be dealt with. You have to talk. Justice and money. Everything else can come out of that very easily. And then you can get your agriculture and your manufacturing back. This has been financial warfare on the global level. Okay? See? That's how Asian I'm getting. Okay, anyway, that's my point. This is Napoleon. I can't believe it's Napoleon, but it is Napoleon. I know it's Napoleon because I know Napoleon. I know him. I know him. There's nobody like him. He's a genius. He's incredible. He's like nobody else. He's incredible. So we're going to read the memoirs of suspected Napoleon of our time, the Elvis Costello I call Cohen. I just like having a new name. That's King of America, Napoleon Dynamite. It's my little sneaky way of calling him Napoleon. But we could call him Declan Napoleon. I like that one too. Declan Napoleon. I like that one a lot. I think I might switch to that one. I like Declan Napoleon. I think that one's good. All right. This is the classic story that those of us who watch way too much of his stuff have heard about how people told him his father's a better singer than he is. We have heard that story. And we have listened to both. And we have made our decision also. It's really funny. What's the decision? He was really good. He was really good. Nobody's better, of course, and no one could be better, but he's really good. He is good. It's funny. It's a funny story. Anyway, so this story's coming up. There we go. We're going to do that story. The people tell him his father's a better singer than him story. Here it comes. Many years after my dad had left, Joe Loss was out touring the Northern Clubs, and I had a couple of hit records to my name, London Cab Drivers, with delight in telling me, I used to see your dad sing down at the Palais, never failing to add, he was a better bloody singer than you'll ever be, to which they would never get any argument from me. When the attractions and I first played the Palais in January 1979, one reviewer unfavorably compared us to Freddie and the Dreamers. I knew we'd hit the big time. The dance bands had long been banished, and the Palais was now an overcrowded, overheated rock and roll venue, looking a little bit tatty and kicked in. I wasn't drinking lemonade anymore, but I did take a walk up into the balcony. The same scent hung in the air, only now I could name the ingredients. Sour, spilt beer, stale tobacco, nicotine stains, and of course, the stifled tears of jilted girls. You might expect I would have written more than a line or two about the old place, but I pretty much thought that Joe Strummer had put an indelible mark on a brand new map with the Clash song, White Man in Hammersmith Palace. We didn't really click there until 1984, when we made a circuit of the country, returning to London for a Monday night residency at the Palais, playing shows that were nearly 40 songs long. I was looking for something I couldn't find. In 1981, we hired the deserted ballroom for the afternoon so we could stage a photograph for the album sleeve of Trust. Rather than list everyone involved in the credits, we dressed them all in hired tuxedos, sat them behind monogrammed music stands, and gave them rented instruments to hold. The attractions were word perfect. Nick Lowe was pretending to play a tenor sax, while our engineer led the strings section. All the other members of the ensemble were our road crew, the staff of F-Beat Records, and the owners of Eden Studios. The scene was photographed in glorious black and white by Chalky Davies. 2 years later, I would sit for a series of 20 by 24 Polaroids that Davies and Starr shot with a giant land camera at the Science Museum. It resembled a Victorian plate contraption with bellows. Among the life-size Polaroids, peeled back and framed was a portrait of me and my son Matt, then age 7. But on the afternoon of that Hammersmith charade, I was just my father's son. I took my central place on the bandstand. I hid my eyes behind dark glasses and buttoned up my new silk Salaro suit. There was no way to go back. Time and the wrecking ball have taken care of the rest. So much, so much. See that? The twin flame always looking. The twin flame always looks for their twin flame. It's real. I know this twin flame thing is real. There's all kinds of like creepy people on the internet trying to get your money about it, but it is real. All right, this is my twin flame. I know this. It's I just know it. It's anyway. I can continue to prove it. I'm happy to continue to prove it. I just at this point, I want to say exactly what my situation is. I have I like only live for Napoleon, and he's my twin flame, and now I realize that he's living, and I can't talk to him. I can't literally talk to him on the phone. I think he would very much like to talk to me on the phone, but I've been blacklisted to the elites or something, and he wrote a song about it, and so I think he's being threatened with violence, perhaps, and financial ruin, and they'll destroy him or whatever. It's he's in some kind of deal with them. It's just there's no question about this. It's in his songs. It's obvious. Okay, so he's in some kind of deal with this music monopoly, and I've been talking about Prince for years. I think Prince didn't want to continue with this deal, and he was afraid he was going to lose his soul over it, and I very much think Prince kept his soul. Bless his soul. And Prince, talk to Prince. He's incredible. The only problem with talking to Prince, he's going to get you involved in avenging his murder. That's the problem. If you're not ready for Prince to enlist you into his awareness campaign about his murder, don't talk to him. Don't. Because that's the funny thing about Prince. He really is, he really wants to let people know the truth about it. I mean, I know this. So I like highly encourage you to talk to him. He's real as it gets. And he was killed by these people. And Cohen, Declan Napoleon. I think I would rather say Declan Napoleon. To me, it's more correct. But anyway, Declan Napoleon. Declan Napoleon does not want to like lose his soul and do it. I don't think he wants to do this stuff anymore. And he can't lose his soul. He's not an option. He can't lose his soul. He can't lose his soul. He wants it. He wants it back. They can't have it. It's that simple. We're dealing with people who are taking your soul. They've taken his soul. He wants his soul back. Shouldn't he be able to get his soul back? It was a monopoly. Don't you want to hear his music? Aren't you glad he made a deal with them so you could hear his music? Like, I was blacklisted because I would make a deal with them. Is that fair? It's a very small group, and we all just shudder in terror because they constantly frighten and intimidate us. Yeah, they might kill me for what I'm doing, but you know what? I also might kill them if they try to kill me. See, we don't always have to be the sheep to the slaughter. Let them come for me. I'm ready. Let's be ready. If it's going to be the Wild West, so be it. Because everything they're doing is being backed up by threats of violence, and they won't get caught because they've bought the justice system. Okay, so fix the justice system. That means if someone is a 9/11 criminal, please don't deal with them. Why? Because they set traps for us. They try to kill us. I can't talk to the greatest musician. I'm sorry. I think he's the greatest musician. I can't talk to the greatest musician of our time, who's literally my own twin flame, Napoleon. and he wants to talk. Go ask him if he wants to talk to me. I'm sure he'll say, I would love to talk to her. I'm sure he would love to talk to me. But for some reason, he can't talk to me. Why can't he talk to me? Do you see what I mean? It's all of these things are being backed up by like physical threats. And, you know, we can't be armed, but they can be armed. And we would go to jail, but they wouldn't go to jail. This is every single thing that's going on here. He should be able to have an honest career. He's the greatest musician of our time. Everybody would agree with that. There's no one who would even argue with that. So he's the greatest musician of our time. And he had to deal with them to have the career he had. And his career has blessed us so much. And he did all these terrible things to have that career. And I don't know what they are, but I don't want to know what they are, actually. I really don't. I just want us to, look, if they're going to come kill us, and let's be ready to deal with that. It's over. I don't want these physical threats anymore against people's children, against their family. This is all mafia tactics, but it's bankers, you know. So the real mafia is like the bankers, okay? So it needs to be over. He should be able to call me. If he wants to. There shouldn't be physical threats or financial threats against someone for having a phone call with someone who is like, I've proven this is my twin flame. I don't know what else I can do here to prove it. I've proven it, and I can't talk to him. And I'm what am I, virus, disease, vector? What is it? Why am I under house arrest? Why can't I leave? Why can't I participate in society? My health is better than it's ever been in my life. Since I was a child, actually. So my health is incredible, and thank God. Why? I have to take an injection that killed my mother. I have to take an injection that's definitely killed a lot of people. That definitely has been underreported, the deaths that it's caused. Forget the deaths, but these horrible symptoms that people have. I have to take that injection to go even see this person in concert. I have to risk death, and worse than death also. That's to have these horrible, whatever these symptoms are that people have, the horrible damage. So what's worse, the death or many would say death. So it's a Russian roulette medical product, not for me, but for others. Haven't figured that out. Okay, so this is why we can't have them involved in our decisions and our choices, because they have these clever stories that they come up with, and then they have so much money they can bribe everyone into going along with them. Even people like Declan Napoleon. It's like they have to. I don't get it. They have to go along with it, or else. It's dark occult witchcraft stuff. It needs to end. Please walk away from them. Leave them. You can find a way to live. There's a way to get your basic needs met. Okay? Please walk away from them. And I would love to be able to talk to my twin flame Napoleon, Declan, if he ever wants to talk to me, and without a killing or financial ruin or something. And it was illegal to blacklist me. They don't get to blacklist me because I won't go along with their fake Trump story. Everything about Trump is just a show. And it was, people weren't believing it in 2018. And they were like forcing me to support him. Okay, so that's how it works. And then I would have become some puppet actor, just like everybody else. It's just that I didn't take the money, or what. I guess I would have gotten money, you know? They're bribing everybody. Well, bribing me is illegal. Bribing me to go along with mass fraud is illegal. Everything these people have ever done with me is a million times over legal. They're criminals. Get them out of everything. If there's no justice, then just remove them from our lives, so we can do things, so I can talk to my twin flame if he wants to talk to me. That's the whole point, is if he wants to, he should, right? We all agree, and they cannot blacklist me and block me from commerce because I don't want to lie. This is not reasonable. Anyway, thank you for listening. I appreciate that so much. Good night.